This is the podcast, Week 8 podcast, coming to you on Friday night after the Thursday night game. What a destroying Thursday night. Houston Texans showed out on the miserable Miami Dolphins. They whooped them. Deshaun Watson, big game, 48 points. Hopkins, 26 points, But a big injury for the Houston Texans. Will Fuller out for the season. Big loss for that team. That's not a good thing. Hopefully that Kute can step up, get healthy, and help out the Houston Texans, because Lord knows I need Deshaun Watson and every other team in the league that has him, needs him, and we don't need Hopkins double-teamed either. But I didn't start Hopkins this week. Big mistake. Could cost me the game. Could officially end Do You Believe in Magic season. We'll get to that a little bit later. But as I said, this is Week 8 podcast. You know who I am. You know what I do. I'm going to go right into it. Let me start off with giving myself a little props. Something I can't seem to do this fantasy football season. But I did go 11-1 with my game picks last week, only losing the last game. That's unbelievable. The game that I lost was the Groovy Newbie game. I picked Groovy Newbie to beat Beast Mode, and he lost. I can't believe it. The Groovy Newbie can't lose. Beast Mode represented, though, and kept his great season going forward, but I still win 11-1. Puts me year to date way above 500 now. 51-33. Now, I'm above 500. I'm going to throw some little stank in the game, if you know what I'm saying, on this week's picks, and try to throw some upsets in there instead of picking the sure things. This past week's high score, Old Shy Pizza, 286. High score. He won high score last week with his other team. Congrats. Low score. That was then. This is still now. You got the low score of the week again. I understand why you may trade this week trying to better that team for the last big hurrah to push to the playoffs. I foresee that happening more and more. Speaking of trades, I see that the defending champ, Chris Light My Fire, somehow, someway gets a hold of these people and pulls trades. He's completely changed his horrible team draft this year. Why he talks bad about my draft. His draft wasn't that great either. So bad that he had to go acquire Russell Wilson. So bad he had to try to get Matt Ryan and make some trades of Keenan Allen and a couple other guys that ain't had this greatest season. Chris, welcome to my world. I understand. But the difference is that your schedule has dictated you to be 5-2 up until this point. So that's good for you. Let's go ahead and move on forward into some more football news. The trade deadline for our fantasy football season is kickoff week 10 on Sunday, not Thursday. Kickoff week 10 on Sunday, not Thursday's trade deadline. Last year we ran into a little bit of a problem when somebody had a Thursday night player play on that week, and then they made a trade. Well, the trade couldn't go into effect until after the week 10 was over, because the Thursday night player had already played in that current week. If that's to happen again this week, the same thing will happen. So after kickoff, week 10, the trades are cut off. If a trade is agreed upon prior to that, then I will put that trade through at the end of the Monday night game, and that way you can still make your trade if you have somebody playing the Thursday night games and go on next week's, the week after's schedule for your team. So no restrictions if you have people that have played in the Thursday night game for the trades, but the deadline, again, kickoff Sunday, week 10, kickoff for trades. Everybody better get their team ready to go. As everybody knows, pickups are still allowed throughout the entire season, all the way up through the playoffs. However, if you are a team that is not going to be in the playoffs, I will be watching you guys very closely to make sure that you don't drop players that can significantly help other teams. That has happened one other time this league, and needless to say, the person that did it is no longer in this league. So I want to also say happy Halloween to everybody. Halloween coming up next coming week. I did not get all dressed up for the Halloween podcast this year. Maybe next week. Nah, I don't know. I doubt it. Probably not. Probably not next week. But we will see how that goes. So I'm going to jump right on into the picks. I'm going to have probably a short podcast this week. I'm already up to about 5.5 minutes. But more props to my Kansas City Chiefs. Still representing as usual. They play the Denver Donkeys this week. Nobody likes the Broncos. I don't remember if the spread's 10 or 11. Here in Arrowhead, it's going to be a good matchup. They destroyed Cincinnati in Arrowhead last week. I'm going to go with the Broncos to cover the 10-point or 11-point or 12-point, somewhere around 10 or 11 spread. That's my pick of the week for all you bettors. Take the Broncos in the points. They're going to play a close game. 10's a lot of points or 11's a lot of points for that game. I know the Chiefs are awesome. Probably going to go to the Super Bowl, but the Broncos always fight them hard. Chiefs won so many games against their conference that I can foresee a close game here at Arrowhead Stadium. The game of the week, though, in my opinion, is the Green Bay Packers at the Rams. Will the Packers be able to deliver the Rams their first defeat? So that way we have no more undefeated teams in regular football. Can Hardcore get his first defeat? You talk about a team that has been lucky this season. My God, this guy, I don't know how he can be undefeated. He hangs around 230 points, which is pretty solid, but he seems to play teams that don't blow up on him. I would rather him have that luck now than have that luck come playoff time. So keep your undefeated streak going, Hardcore, and we'll see how you do in the playoffs, buddy. All right, going into this week, we're going to start off matchup number 1. Oklahoma will represent versus That Was Then, This Is Now. I think That Was Then, This Is Now got a better this team with his trade. I just don't know if he has enough firepower or if he's going to make the right starting lineups to win this week. I seen last week, me and him made a trade for Dalton, but then he don't start him. I didn't get that, and he got nothing, pretty much nothing out of Brock Osweiler from Miami last night. So we will see how that turns out. I'm going with Oklahoma. Old Chicago Pizza versus DNZ. I'm going to roll with Old Chicago Pizza to get the win this week, coming off the high score of the week. He won't have too much of a letdown. DNZ does have a solid team. It has been creeping up, but I don't know if he's got enough firepower to win this week. We'll see. I'm going with Old Chicago Pizza. Mile High Club will defeat Bohica this week. Bohica made a trade of Matt Ryan. I know Matt Ryan's on bye. I don't understand that trade, but hey, maybe want to do it. Maybe want to shake some things up. He's on the cusp of not making the playoffs. Got to try to make a run. See what he can do. Going with Mile High Club. The 6165 show, who beat me last week, who I don't know how they did it, but Andy Dalton didn't show up. That's how they did it. So you score 10 points against the Chiefs defense as a quarterback. That's the lowest point total the Chiefs have allowed to a quarterback this season, and it just happened to be the week that I needed you, Dalton. Thanks a lot. That's why you're no longer on my team, sir. You're out of here. I'm going with 6165 show to beat Big Ball and Shot Calling this week. 6165 show gets a victory. Total Chaos versus Light My Fire. Light My Fire is favored currently by 35 points according to my paper. Total Chaos made a trade with P&L. Looked kind of shaky. I don't know why he made that trade. He traded some people on bye, get some bodies, because he knows pretty much he's got to win out to have a chance to make the playoffs. Light My Fire made some trades with some people that are on bye to acquire some other people, better this team. But I'm going to go with the upset this week. Total Chaos is active. He's hungry. And I think this might be the week that Light My Fire made too many trades that will affect his team, and Total Chaos will upset this 35-point favorite this week. Total Chaos. Do you believe in Magic versus P&L? Do you believe in Magic is going to get the victory this week? Believe it or not, I'm going to pick myself. Last week I went against myself on both games, and they lost because I know what my team's working with. I'm going to beat P&L. Do you believe in Magic gets the victory this week? Nothing But Trouble versus Gotcha Biatch. Going with Nothing But Trouble. He'll get the victory this week. Hardcore versus Beast Mode. Could this be the week that Hardcore finally gets beat? Well, I'm going to put it to you real simple. It has to do with they both have Drew Brees, so that's an offset there. That's a big powerhouse for both those teams. Beast Mode has Todd Gurley. If Todd Gurley goes off and gets 30 points or more, mark my words, I'm saying it now, 30 points or more for Gurley, no matter what the rest of the teams do, Beast Mode gets the win. If Todd Gurley does not get 30, if he gets 28, 25, 27, I don't believe it's going to be enough. That's how close this game is. I'm going to go with hardcore, believe it or not, to beat Beast Mode. Unless Gurley gets 30 points. Then Beast Mode will win. Hardcore's my pick, though. I'm going to go with the GOAT versus Want to Be Like Mike. Want to Be Like Mike's going to get the victory this week. I think that his team's good enough to beat the GOAT. The GOAT has had some impressive victories. I'm going with Want to Be Like Mike. Playtime is over. It's only a 10-point favorite over Fig Jam. I don't know what the heck's up with that, considering Fig Jam made a couple trades this week that did not better his team, in my opinion. He traded Fournette. Fournette's going to be back in Week 10. Everything I've read, Fournette's back in Week 10. I don't care what Carlos Hyde, all this hype about this guy. This guy ain't going to do nothing for them. He's a third-string player at best. I'm going with Fournette. When Fournette comes back, he's going to be the man. I don't know why that trade was done. I'm going to go for sure with playtime is over to get the victory against the Fig Jam team this week. I don't understand that line, but maybe playtime's just struggling that bad. I'm going to playtime. I know my teams. TNT, who's Dynamite, who I cannot make a trade with any night. I'm going with Sunshine Daydream to get the victory against TNT, who's Dynamite this week. Maybe, just maybe, if TNT loses, he might be more apt to trade. Last but not least, the Groovy Newbie against Pain Inc. One of the matchups of the week. Top teams going against top teams. I like it like that. Pain Inc.'s got a lot of firepower, as everybody knows. It's going to come down to Kimura. It's going to come down to Michael Thomas. Patrick Mahomes versus the Groovy Newbie, who's got a lot of firepower too. Got Patrick Mahomes as well. Very interesting. I'm going to go with the Groovy Newbie to upset Pain Inc. this week. I've been on the Pain Inc. bandwagon a lot this year. I believe that Minnesota's going to give the Saints a big fight this coming weekend, and they may upset the Saints for payback for what to show the Saints that they beat them legitimately last year in the playoffs. But I'm gonna be rooting for the Saints. I like the Saints; they're all right. I like Kirk Cousins, as everybody knows. I'm going with the Groovy Newbie to upset Pain Inc. this week as my final pick. All right, y'all. There it is. I got to get this mug on the site, man. Sorry, it's coming up later and later. It seems like every week. That's my bad. I'm gonna get it together, though. I'm going to get it together. For all y'all that have kids, be safe on Halloween. For all y'all who don't have kids, get drunk on Halloween. For anybody else who don't get drunk or who don't have kids, y'all got a boring-ass life. Anyway, have fun. Peace out. Week 8 podcast. It's a wrap.